What's going on, guys? It's Swimzyy here, and welcome back to a brand new Warframe video. Now in this video we are actually going to look at the Incarnon Prisma Skana. Now the Incarnon form is actually a bit weird. It solely relies on finishes, so I'm going to show you how this weapon works, the best build for it, and of course that finisher damage, that sweet finisher damage. If you did enjoy today's video, please consider liking, sharing and subscribing, as everything helps me out. Thank you guys all so much for the support on my videos, and let's get into the build. So this is the Prisma Skana, of course. Now you can put the Incarnon Genesis on the Skana Prime if you were a founder, or the Prisma Skana. Now I chose the Prisma Skana because it is the best that I could possibly get. I am not a founder, so I don't have the Skana Prime. I wish I did, but it is what it is. So I'm only going to show you one build in today's video, just because, you know, melee weapons, they can be a bit finicky, and I just want to show you the best possible build that I've created. This build does involve a Riven. The Riven makes it even better. The stance is Crimson Dervish. Then we have the Riven, plus 112.3 critical damage, plus 135 finisher damage. Now you guys are probably wondering, this is not the best Riven you can get. Yes, I know it isn't, but the Incarnon form does rely on finisher attacks, so that is why I chose this Riven role in particular. Then we have Blood Rush, plus 40% critical chance, stacks with combo multiplier. Then we also have Vicious Frost for that 60% cold and 60% status chance. Organ Shatter for 90% critical damage. Finishing Touch for extra 60% finisher damage. Now, normally I would not run any finisher mods, but because this Incarnon Genesis actually relies on finishing enemies, that is why I've chosen to add a little bit extra finisher damage. Then we have Virulent Scourge, plus 60% Toxin, plus 60% status chance. Berserker Fury, on melee kill, plus 35% attack speed for 10 seconds, stacked up to 2 times. And we have Condition Overload, plus 80% melee damage per status type affecting the target. Now overall, with the stats on my left hand side, we have Critical Chance at 53%, Critical Multiplier 6.6 times, Status 35.2%, dealing mainly slash and viral for 572 total damage. Now, if you really want to, you could get a Riven with crit chance, crit damage, finisher damage, and then like a negative damage to infested. That would work really well, but I'm just going to roll with what I got. With that out of the way, let's head on over to Cavallero. Alright, so we are at Cavallero, and he actually evolves your Incarnon weapons. I don't know why the game's lagging, but anyway. We go down to the Prisma Skana. Here it is. As you can see, I have 2 Former on this build. It's not a very Former heavy build, but that is only because I have a Riven. If you don't have a Riven, I would recommend putting at least 2 more Former onto this. So starting off at Evolution 1, play a solo mission with this weapon equipped and you will gain the Incarnon form. Then Evolution 2, if you activate this Incarnon form at least 6 times, you will gain this evolution. And the choices between this evolution are Guardian's Promise, increases damage by 100, and with overshields, plus 80% heavy attack efficiency. Or you can go with Wartime Nerve, increases damage by 90 and plus 9 combo count on undamaged enemies. Now this overall gives you a lot more damage, but you don't really want a heavy attack with this weapon since you are going to perform finishes most of the time. So that's why I chose Wartime Nerve. Evolution 3, you have 3 choices. You have Orokin Reach, plus 0.4 range. You have Resolute Force, plus 6 seconds of combo duration. Or Swift Break, plus 50% heavy attack wind-up speed. Now, as I said before, this weapon relies solely on finishes, so that is why I chose that plus 6 seconds of combo duration, so I don't run out of my combo and I don't lose damage. Range is actually alright too, but it's only 0.4, so if you really want range, you could substitute any mod you would like with Primed Reach, so that is why I chose Resolute Force. And finally, Evolution 4, you have 3 choices. Survivor's Edge increases critical chance by 12% and increases status chance by 10%. Elemental Excess increases status chance by 20%, or Absolute Valor increases the critical chance by plus 25%. Now I chose Absolute Valor for that increase in critical chance. Now let's head on to the Simulacrum. Alright, so we are now in the Simulacrum, and I'm going to be using Mirage today for testing. Now, the first round of tests, I'm actually not going to use any of her abilities, and in the second round of tests, I will use all of her abilities, just so you see the maximum and minimum damage output. Now, we are actually going to verse 20 Corrupted Heavy Gunners, Steel Path modifier of course, level 165, and I'm going to show you how this weapon actually performs, because, not going to lie, the Skana Incarnon is actually slept on. Obviously, you have to hit a 6 times combo multiplier to activate the Incarnon form. Right now, I'm just going to show you what the base Skana can do. So obviously, it starts out slow, you want to build up that combo. But we're getting a few oranges in there, nice orange crits. As you can see, we are now boosting up, and look at that damage. 602,000. If you can manage to knock them over and then stab them and perform some sort of a finisher, then you'll do crazy amounts of damage just like that. 1.5 million slash crit. 1 million. 400k. This is actually insane. Now, activating the Incarnon form, you can actually open them up to finishes, but I'm just going to show you what this weapon does, and we'll go on with finishes a little bit later. So as you can see, build up that combo, you're going to do a ton of damage. Like, this is actually ridiculous. Now, if I actually melee, that stealth damage actually stuns enemies, and I can keep performing it over and over again, and as you can see, it's dealing a ton of damage. Now, you can actually hit over 3 million damage by stabbing those enemies, so it is very, very cracked. Now let's spawn them again, and I'm going to use all of Mirage's abilities this time. Right, look at this. It's actually mental. Look how fast we are killing these enemies. Look at that, 9 million damage. Did you guys just see that? That is honestly so packed. 6.8 mil. It's actually insane. Let's activate the Incarnon form now. I just knocked half of the enemies off the map, which doesn't help whatsoever. But as you guys can see, 8.6 mil. This is insane. 8.6 mil again. It's honestly insane. Now let's do the stealth attacks. 1.3 mil. 1.3 mil. 1.3 mil. Like, this is actually unbelievable. Like, I know finishers aren't that good, but if you want to do a finisher build with this weapon, the Incarnon form actually allows you to definitely deal a ton of damage. Now, let's head on over to a standard Steel Path mission, and I'll show you how this weapon does in a real situation. Alright, so we are actually on Steel Path, of course, level 140 to 145. And we're just going to see how this weapon actually performs. So, as you can see in the Simulacrum, finishes are going to work the best. Now, I'm going to have to show those finishes as well, but I'm just going to have to build up a combo counter right now. There we go, built up a combo counter, activated it. Let's see if I can get some stuns in. It's just going to keep stunning enemies. So, this is a very good crowd control based weapon, as you can see. These enemies stand no chance. I can just keep doing it over and over again. Now, you could use either standard melee attacks, finisher attacks, or actually heavy attacks. I would not recommend using heavy attacks though, just because even though the Incarnon form choices actually give you options to, it doesn't deal as much damage as what the finisher aspect would do. Plus, the Incarnon form actually complements this weapon's ability to stun lock and perform finishes. So overall, this is actually a very slept-on weapon. It's very decent. I would highly recommend you try this out at least. I'm not a big fan of melee weapons, but this is actually one of the weapons that I find pretty fun. You know, with the Skana, you use it at the start of the game and then you kind of brush it off, but honestly, it's actually a pretty decent weapon. And honestly, if you wanted to put it on the standard Skana, you probably could. I just prefer putting it on weapons that have better stats. But, you know what, it's up to you, it's how you play the game. Do whatever you want to do. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did like this video, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. So if you did like this type of video, or just like my content in general, please drop a subscription. Everything helps me out. Thank you all so much for the support on my videos. Thank you all so much for watching. It's been Swim, guys. Later.